You probably think your cat bites you out of nowhere because they are simply unpredictable or moody. But here is what nobody tells you. I bet your cat does the exact bizarre thing I will mention in point number 3. If I am right, you owe me a like and a subscribe.
Deal. Let us dive in.
Point number 1. The sudden betrayal bite. Ever noticed your cat peacefully purring on your lap while you stroke their fur, and then entirely out of nowhere, they turn around, grab your hand with their front paws, and sink their teeth into your skin? It is one of the most confusing and painful experiences for any cat owner. Most people assume that their cat has a split personality, or that they suddenly decided they hate you and want you to leave them alone. But here is the thing. According to veterinary behaviorists from the Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine, this phenomenon is clinically known as petting-induced aggression. To understand this, we have to look back at the evolutionary history of the African wildcat, which is the ancestor of our modern domestic cats. These wild, solitary predators were never designed for prolonged physical contact with another creature. Their hair follicles and skin receptors are incredibly sensitive and designed to detect the slightest shift in the wind or the tiny movements of prey. When you pet them continuously in the same spot for an extended period of time, those highly tuned nerve endings become severely overstimulated. What starts as a pleasurable sensation quickly builds up into a neurological overload, causing actual physical discomfort and anxiety. In cat language, they are not saying they hate you or that they want to attack you out of malice. They are actually saying, I love you and I feel so comforted being near your warmth, but my skin is currently screaming in pain from the repeated friction, so I have to make you stop right this second. I am going to reveal a completely insane behavior at point number 6 that perfectly explains how to stop this. But to understand why your cat reacts so violently, you absolutely need the missing puzzle piece I am about to show you in point number 2. Do not skip or it will not make sense. Point number 2. The base of the tail overload. Ever noticed your cat raising their behind high into the air like an elevator when you scratch that specific spot right at the base of their tail, but then they suddenly turn around and hiss or swat at your hand? It is a very strange mixed signal. Most people assume that the raised rear end means the cat is absolutely loving the scratch and that they want you to keep doing it harder and faster. But here is the thing. Feline neurologists at Tufts University explain that the area at the base of the tail is packed with a uniquely dense concentration of nerve endings known as the hyperesthesia zone. In the wild, this extreme sensitivity was crucial for survival because the rear end is a blind spot, making it vulnerable to sneak attacks from predators or infestations from parasites like fleas. While a brief, very light scratch in this area can trigger a positive and involuntary reflex that makes their hips rise, continuous scratching instantly overwhelms their nervous system. It essentially mimics the sensation of an electric shock traveling straight up their spinal cord into their brain. In cat language, they are saying, I trust you completely to touch my most vulnerable blind spot, and I appreciate the quick groom, but you are accidentally short-circuiting my entire nervous system right now. If this makes sense to you and you have ever accidentally shocked your cat's system without realizing it, hit that like button and subscribe to join our community of true cat lovers. And while that elevator butt shows they love you, it actually triggers an even weirder and far more dangerous reaction when you move your hand to their underside, which brings us directly to point number 3. Point number 3. The forbidden belly trap. Ever noticed your cat rolling over onto their back in the middle of the living room rug, stretching out entirely and exposing their incredibly soft, fluffy stomach, only to turn into a deadly bear trap of claws and teeth the exact second you try to rub that belly? Most people assume that a cat showing their stomach is an open invitation for a belly rub, just like it is for a golden retriever or any other dog. But here's the thing. Animal behavior experts at the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals point out a massive difference in feline psychology. A cat's stomach is the most delicate part of their entire body because it houses all of their vital soft organs, including the liver, intestines, and kidneys. Evolutionarily speaking, lying on the back and exposing the belly is actually a defensive fighting posture. In the wild, if a cat is cornered by a larger predator, rolling on their back allows them to free up all 4 sets of claws and their teeth to inflict maximum damage. When they do this in your living room, it is not an invitation for a massage. In cat language, they are saying, "I feel so incredibly safe and secure in your presence that I do not feel the need to hide my most vulnerable organs from you. I am giving you the ultimate compliment of trust, but please respect my boundaries and do not touch my stomach, or my wild survival instincts will force me to defend myself." Understanding this profound level of trust is a beautiful thing, but it directly connects to another highly sensitive survival tool on their body that most loving owners grab without even thinking, leading us perfectly to point number 4. Point number 4. The paw pad sensitivity. Ever noticed your cat aggressively pulling their leg away, shaking their paw, or lightly nipping at your fingers when you try to gently massage their little toe beans while they are sleeping? Most people assume that cats just do not like being restrained, or that their feet are simply ticklish like a human child. But here is the thing. Researchers studying feline biomechanics and sensory processing have discovered that a cat's paw pads are not just for walking. They are loaded with highly sensitive nerve receptors, known as Pacinian corpuscles, which are designed to detect the microscopic seismic vibrations of mice and insects scurrying across the ground from miles away. Their paws are essential survival tools that help them map out their environment and feel approaching danger before they can even see it. Taking hold of their paws and rubbing those pads completely overwhelms their sensory input and blinds their ability to feel their surroundings, making them feel trapped and entirely defenseless. In cat language, they are saying, "My feet are my ultimate weapons and my radar system, and by letting you sit so close to them, I am showing immense vulnerability. I want to relax with you, but please let me keep my weapons ready and unhindered, just in case we need to escape." Letting them keep their sensory weapons active is absolutely crucial for their mental health. But there is another entirely different sensory organ right on their face that you might be severely irritating right now, bringing us directly to point number 5. Point number 5. The whisker fatigue trigger. Ever noticed your cat getting increasingly agitated, pulling their head back or flattening their ears when you passionately rub their cheeks or kiss their face repeatedly? Most people assume that because a cat loves to naturally rub their own face against your shins or your hands, they must want vigorous face massages in return. But here is the thing. Feline anatomy experts from the Royal Veterinary College explain that a cat's whiskers are deeply embedded into their muscular and nervous systems. These whiskers are not just long hairs, they are highly complex proprioceptive sensors that function exactly like highly tuned radar antennas, helping the cat navigate in pure darkness, measure tight spaces, and detect changes in air currents. Constant rough touching, or repetitive stroking of the whiskers, causes a very real and painful condition, known clinically as whisker fatigue. It floods their brain with a massive, chaotic amount of unnecessary sensory messages, leading to severe stress and sensory exhaustion. In cat language, they are saying, "I am gently rubbing my scent glands on you to claim you as my beloved family member, but your rough touches are blinding my radar antennas and giving me a massive headache. Please just use a gentle single finger on my chin instead." This invisible radar blindness causes massive anxiety within your cat, which perfectly sets up the dangerous petting habit I warned you about at the very beginning of this video, bringing us finally to point number 6. Point number 6. The prolonged stroke danger. Ever noticed your cat intensely flicking their tail back and forth, aggressively twitching the skin on their back, or flattening their ears into an airplane shape after you have been happily petting them down the full length of their spine? For a few minutes, most people assume that a swishing tail means the cat is happy, excited, and relaxed, because that is exactly what a wagging tail means for a dog. But here is the thing. Animal behavior experts who have published extensive studies in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery confirm that long, full-body strokes generate immense amounts of static electricity on a cat's fur. Unlike humans, cats do not have a biological way to easily discharge this built-up energetic friction. When you pet them from the top of their head all the way down to the tip of their tail over and over again, you are creating a localized electrical storm on their skin. This leads to a feeling of millions of tiny microscopic needles rapidly pricking their skin, causing immense agitation and resulting in that sudden, unpredictable bite we talked about in point number 1. In cat language, they are saying, "I want to stay resting in your lap forever because you are my whole world and my provider, but my skin is literally vibrating with painful static discomfort right now, and the swishing tail is my final warning. Alarm before I have to bite you to make it stop." Helping them out of this uncomfortable state is actually surprisingly easy, and it requires a specific psychological technique that will completely change your entire relationship, leading us to our final and absolutely most important strategy at point number 7. Point number 7, the 3-second rule. Ever notice that if you simply hold out your index finger in front of your cat, they will happily step forward, rub their cheek against it, walk away for a moment, and then come right back to do it again, over and over? Most people assume that a loving domesticated cat needs continuous, unending physical affection like tight hugs and non-stop petting to truly know that they are loved and cherished by their owner. But here is the thing. Certified feline behavioral therapists strongly advocate for a psychological technique known as the consent test, or the 3-second rule. Because we now know how easily a cat's nervous system becomes overloaded by physical touch, the absolute best way to show affection is to pet your cat for only 3 seconds at a time, and then intentionally pull your hand away. By pulling your hand away, you give the cat's highly tuned nervous system a brief moment to reset. This prevents the static buildup, stops the adrenaline spikes, and entirely eliminates petting-induced aggression. If the cat leans forward and nudges your hand, they are giving you enthusiastic consent to pet them for another 3 seconds. If they look away or start grooming themselves, the petting session is over. In cat language, they are saying, "Thank you so much for speaking my native language. Thank you for giving me control over my own body and my own boundaries. When you give me the choice to walk away, it makes me want to stay by your side forever, and you are the best parent a cat could ever ask for." Understanding the deep psychology of your cat is not about controlling their actions or treating them like a dog. It is about deeply respecting their ancient wild instincts while fiercely loving their gentle domestic souls. When you learn to read their subtle body language and respect their physical boundaries, they will reward you with a level of loyalty and pure love that is deeper than you can possibly imagine. So, be honest with me right now. Did they do point number 3? Did they try to trap your hand in that fluffy belly? If they did, it is time to pay up that like and subscribe we agreed upon.
Go give your little house panther a delicious treat for me.